Didn't Dan Aykroyd actually have a run-in with something like that?
Yeah, that's why I keep referencing Dan Aykroyd, because he's like a really big voice in the UFO community and aliens, and
like he wasn't he coming forward with something?
Well, what happened? Well, we sold the show to the Sci-Fi Channel, and it was called Out There, and I basically interviewed all of the people that I admired in various fields of study, like Colin Andrews from the Crop Circle movement, Linda Moulton Howe, the expert on cattle mutilations, John Mack. And let me just put a pin in things right there, because John Mack has taken the study of abductions, UFOs, right out through the other side, and he's going, yes, we know they're here, we know they're coming, we know people have been taken, we know there's experimentation going on, we know people have been told about agendas. What we now have to do is use that as a key and as a motivation to socially transform this planet to a more peaceful, more loving, more tolerant state. So his movement, the movement for social change, has just accepts as a fact abductions, UFOs, interplanetary intervention, and what he's doing is taking it out through the positive side of it and saying, now we must use it to socially transform, and I think his message is great.
he was going to do a documentary.
He was going to do a documentary about it, and then the second he met with some people, when he walked outside, wasn't there like some vehicles following him?
And there's Men in Black.
Men in Black following him around.
I talked to him. I talked to the Allagash guys who were taken in the canoe on that trip in Pennsylvania. The last show we did, I had both Bassett, who has the UFO time clock, and then Greer. Both Bassett and Greer were there. They were my two guests for the day. Well, the show was canceled that afternoon.
Did one confront him or something?
I think so, but I think he said that he was smoking or something.
Oh, that's right.
And he said by the time he lit his cigarette and looked up, and he said, if you were to see these cars, they wouldn't be able to move this quick. He said there was nobody on the streets, no cars on the street, but by the time he lit a cigarette and looked up, there was an SUV parked there.
Yeah.
And he said he would have heard that thing drive up. And he thought it was weird, and I think he said he turned to somebody, talked to them, when he looked back, that car was gone. And he said, for that speed, you would have had to have heard the tires squealing.
Or the actual, like, revving of the engine.
Yeah.
To get out of there.
It was something
quickly,
like that.
yeah.
I don't know if it's exactly that, but I'm just trying to paraphrase it, yeah.
I was outside, before I knew it was canceled, in between the interviews. And I was outside, and Britney Spears called me because she wanted me to appear on Saturday Night Live with her. And so I was outside having a cigarette, the phone rang. Oh, Brittany, how you doing? Oh, sure, of course I will. I turned away like this. I turned back, and there was a black Ford across the road, a black Ford sedan. And I was trying to look at the plate, and the plate seemed kind of like fuzzy, and I was, definitely a police car. And two guys were there, and a big, big, tall guy got out of the back seat. And he stood in the street on 42nd Street it was. We were at 42nd Street and 8th Avenue. And he looked right at me. And literally, I was on the phone. Hey, oh, sure, of course I'd love for the show. Saw the Ford, went back like this, turned back like a half second later, and it was gone. And that car did not go past me. It did not make a U-turn, because I would have seen 42nd Street. I would have seen that thing take a U-turn and go away. That car vanished. That car was a cloaked vehicle of some type. And whether this was like a warning to me, because the guy got out of the back seat, gave me a real dirty look. That car vanished. I know what I saw. And, it was just this fast. It was, oh, hi, Brittany, sure. Oh, of course, I'd love to. Guy gives me a dirty look. Oh, well, sure. Car gone. That's what happened. And then 2 hours later, we were told we were not to continue taping, and the show was canceled, and none of them would air.
It's kind of weird, though, because this guy, other than Coneheads, you wouldn't think this guy was into aliens or UFOs and things like that, you know what I mean?
Coneheads, that's I think after that, it probably sparked his interest.
Probably. Like, I love aliens and stuff, but Coneheads, I freaking hate Coneheads. They give me the creeps.
You're an idiot. This is the dumbest movie ever. Like, I watch it all the time.
But these stories are strange to even look at, and a lot of the occurrences that happen around the world on YouTube, and it's almost frustrating because a lot of the times you can't really put credibility to the story.
Yeah.
And there's like no real credibility to any UFO sighting.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Was that an MIB experience? You know, black helicopters, you know, military abductions that happen. Sometimes people are taken and they talk about then being visited by, you know, military personnel and debriefed about their abduction. Was it, you know, was it a technology associated with some of these beings that are visiting that wanted to warn me off, or that wanted to give me verification that I was on the right track? I don't know. But I do know I did turn back a second later, and you know, it takes so long for an automobile accelerating from 0 to 40 miles an hour to reach the corner of 8th Avenue and 42nd Street going past me, and then pulling a U-turn and going out towards Times Square. I would have seen that car. And I looked around. I mean, I was looking for that then. It was gone. So, I don't know. The tapes exist. I have them. We're going to try to repackage them. We might put them out on DVD.